Okay, we're going to read another new chapter of Sangatsu no Lion. This one is chapter 91. It's called Family Part 1. We continue our cover story arc. Momo has unfortunately ripped her clothing while stuck up in the tree, and Kiriyama's best friend slash eternal rival is taking her to a little store called Clover, where I suppose they will buy some new clothes. How nice. Okay, let's get into the chapter itself. Kenji, I said I delivered your clothing to the Fukuoka Hawk Hotel. Okay, thank you. No laundry here. Who is this? Who is this Kenji? This is the first time, I think, in the entire series we've seen computer shogi, which is kind of interesting. Sangatsu no Lion, of course, taking place in like the present day, of like 2009 or whatever when the series started. But it's very timeless and very low tech. Things like cell phones, of course, are common, but just the idea of playing shogi on a computer somehow seems very unnatural to me. And it looks like this person is reviewing two different games simultaneously. We can see in the top right there's like advancing through the move controls, so not actually playing, but just reviewing matches, it looks like. So who is this person? Who is Kenji? Me leaving tomorrow. 10, I think. Mom and Dad are going to sleep now. Okay, so these are younger... What? This is definitely like an older person. And Kenji looks like an older person as well. Mom and Dad are going to sleep now. Usual. What's going on? Thank you. Ooh, ooh. Who is this? I like the shirt tag hanging out the back. It's such a tiny, tiny little detail, but it seems to suggest so much about this person's character. So it looks like they are indeed into their 30s, maybe their 40s, but they're living with their even more elderly parents. Still doing his research. So this is the hotel that his clothes were sent to. Yeah. So is he going for a title match, like he's participating in it, or is he just going to see it? If he's participating in it, is this the person who's up against the Soya Meijin? Because that championship is happening right now for the Meijin title, right? And I don't think we know who his opponent is. It isn't another character that we've already met. I feel like they would have told us. It's because he won the first game. So yeah, it feels like he's playing a title match, and the title match that's going on right now is the Meiji title, or Meijin, I guess, against Soya. It's crazy. He's up a game against Soya. What? So this is like an extremely, extremely strong character. It's just been introduced. Whew. Okay. So I still don't really know what's going on with this family situation. I guess she was referring to herself in the third person when she said mom and dad are going to sleep. So that's his mother. This is his father. He lives with them. He's studying shogi. He only made it this far because he had that stubbornness. Very true. Now all we can do is watch over him. All right. A little bit of paneling highlight. I meant to talk about this one earlier. When she leaves this little bento box, these two shots of his hand on the mouse and then his hand on the bento box, I just absolutely love. It's very Chris Ware-esque to me. Chris Ware just litters his panels or his pages with panels like this. showing very small transitions, very small moments of hesitation or consideration, building up a kind of expectation and a tempo that can later be subverted. It's so interesting. And then here, the light switch on, the light switch off. Classic, but a classic for a good reason. Whew, how many times does this make that he's played Soya-kun in Meijin Championships? I don't even know anymore. So they're kind of at the same age, it looks like. They played together as children. Soya-kun has been extraordinary ever since those days. Waiting on the sidelines. Made me want to run away. Even now, Kenji is still fighting that same opponent. So pitiful. As a family, all we can do is watch like this. Wow, this is incredible. Normally, when characters are introduced in this series, it's much more like the previous chapter with the man they call the Grim Reaper, where your first kind of hearing of him is through their reputation as a shogi player, and then people's impressions of them as a player and as a person in and around the game. And then finally, usually after we've kind of played with them and have had whatever results, then we get more of an investigation into their personal life, into the things that are far away from the game. Generally, that's the pattern, that kind of filling out from in behind shogi. Whereas here, it's all different. We're hearing everything from this person's mother. We're hearing about their accomplishments kind of in reverse. Like, at first we just know, oh, this is somebody who's into shogi, obviously. And then we know that they're in the Meijin title match, like that they have this whole backstory with Soya. And then we were asked this like pretty deep question, like what does it mean to be a family supporting a shogi player? Like what can we do for him? Like isn't it sad that for all of these decades we've just been watching this match play out on the sidelines, wanting to run away, like unable to really do anything for him? And it's a question that reverberates through like the entire series of what does it mean to support. And we can see Kiriyama's relationship with the sisters as maybe a positive example. Okay, so it's like it's so shocking that we're getting into all of this so readily, so quickly, so out of the normal ordering. And for a chapter called Family, I thought, oh, maybe it'll be about the sisters. Maybe it'll be about Rei-kun's adopted family. Maybe it'll be about his original family. You know, that word is already so resonant with this entire series. But it's like a brand new family. Even now, Kenji is still fighting that same opponent. Damn. And then we just cut right to the bar. The bar where Akiri is working. What? Like, what is going on here? Okay, all right, a very lovely shot. Nice floral arrangement. Huh. Search for things like how to grow hair fast. Yeah, so she's still really freaking out about her haircut. Oh, hey! So this is the very last scene of the anime. And I thought we weren't going to get this scene in the manga, so I'm actually really happy to see it. It's such a nice scene. Okay, so yeah, Kiriyama-kun shows up. When she says the morning of the opening ceremony was fascinating, is quite interesting to me, because it seems like maybe Akari is starting to think in other terms about the relationship. Oh, it's so cute! It's actually so great. Oh my gosh, I just love haircuts like that so much. It's not fair. Bob cuts. They're so cute. And of course she probably wanted one that's like flared out a little more. That's what it really comes down to. The kind of adult quality you can get from a bob cut, I think, is to have the bottom flare out to the sides a little more, either like in a swoop up or just like an out kind of curve type thing. I like it. Yeah, he does that. It's so good. It's pretty nice, really nice. It totally suits you. Yeah, I love this because he kind of like loses himself for a second. Normally, Ray would be way too self-conscious to give compliments like this without a whole bunch of qualifiers. But he's actually just so charmed by it. He just thinks it looks so great that he can't help but speak like this. Hino was really nervous about how she looked, so I thought about emailing Kiriyama-kun. Please don't make fun of her. Try to make her feel good about it. But to hand it to Kiriyama-kun, he went above my expectations of it, me sending that email. He just really likes it. He just genuinely really likes it. He says so all the way to the open sing ceremony. It's pretty good, that young animal. Hey, that's the magazine this runs in. It's a pun. We actually thought Hina looked really cute, so we may have teased her a bit much. So they're really confronting this question now. This question that I myself can't really answer. Is he in love with Hina or anything like that? Follow watching her, studying, coming to see her. I don't know. I'm sure Kiriyama couldn't begin to answer this question himself. I'd be surprised if he thought about it like this at all until this point. Or until the point that they asked him. If they ask him, I don't know if they're going to ask him. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I told you before in the last chapter, I'm fine with anything. I have such faith in this series that like any plot direction they introduce, I'm just going to be like, oh, I can't wait. Which is, it's rare for me. A lot of series that I get this emotionally invested in, I have like very strong opinions about like what should happen with the characters, what sort of things would be in character or out of character or whatever. But here it's like, I don't know better than the mangaka. Like, where do I get off saying something like that? They can do whatever they want with their characters, and I'm sure it'll be great. I think he loves her. Decisive answer. Oh, so bittersweet. But he loves me too. But he also really loves Momo. She's a real apple of his eye. I think this is a really good understanding. I think she actually, just through observation and consideration and knowing what Kiriyama is like, has arrived at probably the most accurate answer. He genuinely loves all of them as family. As family. He genuinely thinks of them as his beloved family. And of course, he'll do anything he can to support them. The aunt is a little thrown, but oh my god, look at her happy face as she realizes this. Like as she says all of this out loud, she's like, this is really a wonderful situation, isn't it? So a family. Yes, a family. In a single bound, it looks like he made it all the way there. This point, to go back to something fragile like romantic love would be a near impossible task. Yeah. Oh, that's so nice. I'm so happy that they're like actually addressing this so honestly and seriously and in a way that I find so agreeable. Not that I'm surprised. I'm just so happy. I have a lot of trouble doing that, don't you think? What was she working on this entire time? She was doing something with a watermelon. The aunt, I guess, was working on floral arrangement. But she had a watermelon half, and it looks like a little penknife. She was making something. Watermelon carving? Oh! What? Whoa! Happy 70th birthday, Todo. Who the heck is Todo-sama? Who in the world? Wow, that's a choice fruit watermelon too? I mean, I don't know what choice fruit exactly means. But in Japan, you know, the prices on fruit have a ceiling that is completely unfathomable. Really nice, perfect exemplar fruit grown in ideal circumstances and stuff could run you. Like that watermelon could easily be over $1,000. There's no way they went for $1,000 watermelon, but they do exist. You can buy a watermelon for $1,000. Bring him to tears for a few reasons. This niece right here is exceeding some expectations of her own. Realize the end. Misaki. 52. Another wonderful chapter. A very short chapter. No? Ah, but there's a little blog post at the end. Well, let's talk about the chapter first and see if we can come to any, I don't know. So family. Single band that looks like you need it all the way there. Oh my god! Ah! It'd be nice to have this scene animated too. That's all I'm gonna be thinking as I go forward into the stuff that was never animated. Wouldn't it be lovely to see this with Shaft animation? Shaft is like dead or something now, isn't it? Ah, okay. Let's look at the blog post. Regarding shogi players that are hard to deal with. Ah, so this is more about the previous chapter. So I'm not sure why it's at the end of this chapter, not the previous chapter. Whatever. The real world of shogi is full of eccentrics, so I don't think anyone would be all that surprised. Yeah. I love these little columns. They're so insightful. They're so, I don't know, inspiring. It's like, this is the sort of world I want to be part of. This is the sort of place I wish I could see. The one that got me so, I don't know, not upset, not distraught. It must have been a positive feeling. But the positive aspects of the feeling I can't put a word to. It was a longing sort of feeling. They were talking about shogi study groups, and they said that there was a group of professional shogi players that practiced together, and they named their group after Nobuki Fukumoto, who of course is the mangaka that wrote Akagi and Kaiji and Ten and Kurosawa and all sorts of other fantastic series. Like one of my favorite mangaka of all time. They're all such big fans of him. They meet together and play shogi and talk about his works and stuff, and probably play mahjong too. I was like, damn, why not me? Why not me? Okay, so they're talking about Name Rikawa 7 Dan. The quotes about him were great. I was holding my stomach. I was laughing so hard reading that. In the page you learn he's a mortician. His mind is unsteady. Taken aback when I read the 2 pages of his interview. It was quite deep. I don't know anything that makes me feel more alive than this. That quote is actually something I feel all the time, so it really hit home with me. So I love that Sangatsu no Lion, which is quite a large series in Japan. It's very well liked and well read. So much so that a lot of people were actually outraged by Shaft's adaptation. Just the fact that an adaptation existed at all, I think, upset some people. And then some of the more kind of wacky choices that, of course, Shaft can't help but make. In some of the direction and stuff they saw as going too far, as kind of blowing out the subtlety of the manga or whatever. There's some various controversies. Anyways, so I like this idea that there's pro shogi players that are like, oh, is this supposed to be me? The name is so similar. Shogi is a match between 2 human beings, so naturally there are some players that will just have poor affinity for certain others. Delicate subject, however, so even when players have a few drinks together, this hardly ever gets talked about. Yeah, to me this is like a really major thing in a lot of one-on-one competitive games, and probably team games too, that really isn't discussed. Like, you'll talk about people's particular matchups with one another player, And given that you're talking primarily results-based and then kind of breaking down into the details of the matchup, this does encapsulate the idea of people just being very poorly suited for each other as people. But I know personally, like, that actually makes a major factor. And of course, it's reflected in how you play. It's not some sort of thing that's above and beyond the game. But the way you play can be so easily rattled and shook just by how you're feeling sitting down for the match, that if you're playing against someone that really rubs you the wrong way for some reason, you're going to play differently. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. I personally know a few people that I play Melee with, that I encounter in Melee tournaments, whom, for whatever reason, just kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth. Generally, the ones I find hardest to deal with are the people that don't look like they're having fun, that look like they hate being at the tournament, that they don't really like anyone, that they don't even like Melee, that they're just kind of forcing themselves through it. For some reason, I get this sort of sense. They just feel angry, and that they kind of want you to be angry as well. That it's like they want you to be taking it as seriously, and that their indicator for taking it seriously is to not even have the possibility that you could be doing it just for fun. And when I play against someone like this, I get kind of rattled, and I find myself caught between, still just trying to win and play my game and respond to what they're doing properly, but then also just trying to show somewhat spitefully that I don't care as much as them, that I'm genuinely just here to have a good time, and that whether I win or lose, I'm going to be the real winner because I'm having a good time and they evidently aren't. So this leads me to playing weird and different and doing kind of silly things. I don't know. It's so stupid. Like, it's not good that I play like this, or that I let other players shake me like this. But like, that's just a personal example. I'm sure everybody has types of players that they run into. Like, there's probably people that don't look forward to playing against me for the very reason that I won't seem so grim when I'm playing. That it seems like I don't really care so much if I lose. Like, I don't know. All right, whatever. From my perspective, players' perception of this is like the power of language. There's a sense that if you say something too carelessly, you can have up having bad chemistry with someone. Yeah. There's some I have bad chemistry with, but for the reason I listed above, I'm not going to name any specific names, of course. You realize there's a player you have bad chemistry with. The important thing is to be very careful that you know if it's a matter of incompatibility, or if you just list to them. Oh, list, like become listless, like you submit because you're the weaker player. Oh, lost. You just lost to them because you're the weaker player. I think that's the typo that was made. Mistaking this as simple stupidity, honestly. Yeah, I mean, that's true too. The players that I'm complaining about earlier when I was talking about Melee, those are players that generally beat me. But it's like, I don't know. This is one guy, just the ideal of this sort of attitude that I'm talking about. Just never seems like he's having a good time while he's there. I remember like the first game we were playing grand finals. The first game he 4-stocked me. He beat me without me taking a life from him. No. First game was a little close. Second game he 4-stocked me on my counter pick. Like, I chose the stage and then he 4-stocked me, which is just embarrassing. And then I won the next game. I was so happy with that my mentality actually held out. So I think I'm getting better about this. Because normally in a situation like that, through most of my Melee playing time, I would have been like, oh, fine, if you want it so badly, and then just like played like crap, like basically through him. So yeah. Don't worry about getting along with someone or not. Whoever you're up against, keep presence of mind. Of course, unfortunately, it's a very pretty difficult thing to do. All right, nice little blurb. We will continue reading on. We of course have many chapters to go before we catch up. So that's quite exciting. Please look forward to them. I'm very much looking forward to them. Bye-bye.